everyone. Welcome to yet another dynamic episode of Newsmakers. This is the show where we bring to you spectacular personalities and their success stories from various walks of life. Because at Newsmakers, we really aspire to inspire you. My dear lovely audience, I'm your host Simran, and I'm sharing stage with yet another very powerful personality. On today's episode, we are going to focus on this scientific development which is transforming India's bio and healthcare sciences. And to join us today, we have Dr. Devjani Das Gupta. She is a very distinguished scientist and also academic leader. She is the director of the School of Biotechnology and Bioinformatics at Deemed to be University, Navi Mumbai. I'm very glad because today we're going to talk about a lot of research work she's done in the healthcare sciences, and there is so much that I need to know from her. I'm not going to take much time. Let us all welcome Dr. Devjani Das Gupta on the sets of Newsmakers. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
I'm so very glad you could spare time. You flew all the way from Mumbai to be with us here, and there is so much that I need to know from you.
Yes, I'm as excited as you are, in letting people know this beautiful sector of biotechnology.
Yes, it's a very different thing we're going to talk about. I would like to start because, our show is a very inspiring show. And we would always like to start with your inspirational journey because my viewers are wanting to get inspired with the person who's coming and who's as young and as dynamic like you are right now. We would like to know your journey all through you're here at this stage of your life. How has it been?
It has been a wonderful, absolutely wonderful journey for me by God's grace. I bring in this phenomenon of God because I cannot sometimes believe what I have been able to do within this span of 40 years. So I finished my PhD at the Bhabha Atomic Research Center. And then I went for a postdoctoral study at the US. And I worked on cancer biology.
Wonderful.
And I decided, no, I will not stay in that country. I will come back to my country. And I developed a lot of postgraduate, programs.
Okay.
Bringing in projects from the government. And government was also very gracious to me. They gave me projects. And I developed labs, I developed projects, research projects. And I took youngsters with a storm.
Wow.
They came with me, they flocked around me, and we had a fantastic journey.
Wow.
And I was at the Institute of Science then in Mumbai. And then I came back to D.Y. Patil University. I've been here for more than 15 years now.
Wonderful.
And I have been doing another set of wonderful work with wonderful faculty members. And very focused people. I have been able to kind of keep them stimulated and channelized, in the path of biotechnology and bioinformatics. And we are doing great work.
I am so sure because when I see you as a person here sitting next to me, what a positive aura that I get. And of course, the journey has been so great, and you're working with students. I'm sure they must be loving the director and the teacher who's guiding them through.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
mutual admiration club, let's call it.
So, moving further, I would like to know here that you've been a very renowned scientist. You've worked upon a lot of research work that you just now told me about the anti-cancer drug that you worked upon. Then you also worked on herbal therapeutics, and so on and so forth. There's so much. Now, I would like to know, how did this happen? Like, you were researching about all these things, and how did India take over this? You were working with very closely with the government.
Yes, you see, there was a focus. It has to be there actually. Any country has to have a focus on healthcare. Education, healthcare, these are primary necessities for any developing country, and which aspires to be a developed country. And so I was both fortunately in the education sector and in the health science. My interests were in the health science. And so I was working on cancer biology. And I used to work on the wonder drug of the 90s, that is Taxol.
Okay.
But now we have come several years ahead in research. And the kind of research has also changed because it has advanced. Research has advanced like in leaps and bounds,
Correct.
you know.
Correct.
And so the healthcare sector still remains the priority for the government. Education also requires the prioritization of the government. And I think this government is prioritizing and is putting in a lot of work and lot of attention in this area. And we are fortunate. You know, if leaders like us, we can pick up the government aid and the government policies and work on them, we'll be doing a service to the nation.
Wonderful. So you see India reaching on to which level from years from now? Where do you see India?
Leaders, absolute global leaders.
Wow.
See, in the biopharma sector, India has been leading in certain areas. Like, for example, I'll tell you later on biosimilars. You know, biosimilars is one. Biopharmaceuticals, by and large. So, pharmacy has changed its color. It's no more chemical oriented. It has become now bio oriented. So, it is the focus is on biologics. And biologics come from the study of biotechnology.
True.
You know, basically the government has got what is called as the Bio E3 policy. And this government is responsible for all these very advanced thinking policies. You know, the scientific advisory board of the Prime Minister, I think, is fantastic. And the Prime Minister, hats off to him for, you know, achieving all this for the nation. So the Bio E3 policy is biotechnology for economy, for environment, and for employment. You see? So how can biotechnology aid bioeconomy? To a very large extent. We were leaders, we need to keep this leadership, and we need to be absolute global leaders, right? In the biologics area. And this was evident with the COVID vaccines, you know, when we were the vaccine producers of the world.
Absolutely.
Right? We gave the whole world and we saved millions of lives.
Of people, yes.
So from there on, I think the ambition grew, and now India aspires to be the top global leaders in the biopharmaceutical area.
Now, coming in from through you, this particular thing that we'll be the leaders in the coming years, and I'm sure we will be because India is aggressively working on the healthcare sector. We are in the stage of AI.
Yes.
The technologies,
Yes.
we're so prone to it.
Yes.
Everyone is into it. You know, we can't work without it. But how is your industry using this tool called AI or probably the technology? How can you just predict things? You know, the healthcare would have some problem. Does technology help you through?
Oh, yes. It's India has now what is called as the bio AI hubs. You know, as much as India has bio manufacturing hubs, they're called as bio foundries. They are aided, every research in the biology area is aided by AI.
Correct.
It helps to bring down time. It makes drugs cost effective, right?
Okay.
Cost effective. It brings more precision, right? We can start to predict medicine. And the Genome India project is being largely helped by AI. So we are also leaders in AI in certain ways. And we have been able to harness the power of AI to biotechnology, to biogenomics. And we are going to do wonders with this combination, deadly combination as I call it.
This again comes because sometimes people have this thing called the fear of AI coming in, and a lot of people from the industry think it's going to take our jobs. But here, how you have told us that how the amalgamation of AI and of course the research works has helped through, and it's going to be the great. The research work is already been done so greatly. Now, you know, we are in India having a lot of climate problems, climate changes. It does affect the people. It affects agriculture, plants. How are you, as researcher, going to help us through to get through this climate change and of course the hazards that we are facing?
Yeah. You see, climate change hazards, we have planted the seeds of climate change years ago, some years ago, by bad human practices.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And now, so climate change is an inevitable thing. Yeah, so we have to kind of face this climate change. How do we face it? Yes, biotechnology will help you face it, right? So what does climate change do? Climate change kills crops, right?
True.
Creates floods, creates droughts, right? Spreads infectious diseases. Here is biotechnology standing strong to create drought resistant crops,
Okay.
yeah, to create soil enhancing microbes. Huh? So you can, whatever the soil, salinity has come into the soil because of the floods. There are crops that are being developed which are salinity resistant. So we are doing all this. Biotechnology is doing all this, you see. Creating crops which are drought resistant, which are salinity resistant.
Wonderful.
We are doing wonderful things for infectious diseases. How to catch the infection, how to catch the microbes which are causing the infection. How to predict that this will become a calamity and this will become again a pandemic. We can predict this through biotechnology and bioinformatics studies. Yeah, so we need just more task force. We need more people coming into biotechnology and bioinformatics. There's a lot of studies there. We need to spread it.
But in that case, like you're saying that we can predict it, and it's like that we're working on it. A lot of things have been done. But were like, how about COVID times? Was it
Yeah,
not predictable?
everything came to us as a lesson after COVID,
All right.
right?
So we probably transformed after we
We
had COVID.
transformed largely after COVID. Awareness. You see, self-awareness and self-action comes after you are given a lesson,
Correct, and it was a
right?
huge lesson.
It was a huge lesson.
So I think that time the environment was very happy. I mean, like if you go out, people were all inside because we as humankind, we were the ones who was spoiling still.
Suffering, yes, suffering. But of course, the origins of COVID, let's not discuss that. That's a topic for another podcast, actually. So, why COVID happened is a different story. But we should know that this kind of human race multiplication, right, can cause so many, and our bad habits and our practices that we do can cause large infections to break out. Yeah, and viruses, the beauty of viruses, beauty or the sadness, for us it is sadness, but for the viruses it's beauty, because they can change their personalities. And so the COVID virus itself will change its personality and hit in another way at some point of time, unless we are prepared with our vaccines and we know when to give the vaccines and people are ready to take the vaccines. You see, in India, people are not even ready to take vaccines because they have some weird ideas in their mind. But if the general public is made alert and aware, and the vaccines are there in the market, you have to give it to the public. And that is how you will save the public from. And this is all done by biotechnology, mind you. So it's playing a very important role in the healthcare infrastructure, healthcare landscape of this country.
You just now said that biotechnology is working too very aggressively. Now, when we see here the growth, and India is expected to, this industry is going to boom. In the year 2030, we're expected it's going to boom. So, how do you see this boom coming in? And 2030, biotechnology is the prime thing.
Yes.
What is that one thing that you would like to tell the audience? How is this
Yes.
boom going to help?
Help, yeah. So as I told you before, that we were already, tending to be global leaders,
Yeah.
right, which we saw during COVID time. And by 2030, we want to become, India aspires to be a $300 billion economy. The bioeconomy itself aspires to be a $300 billion one. And for that, industries, research institutions, students, faculty needs to come together. We need skilled man force, skilled task force to help. The government has done a lot, and we have to take the advantages from the government. Whatever the government has provided, we have to take advantage of that. And we have to put our minds together and put, our energies towards this. And I'm sure by 2030, we will become a global leader, and the bioeconomy will boom, and this will go on till another, 2050. I think India will hold, biotechnology products,
All
boom
right.
of biotechnology products.
So here a lot of students and educators, they need to come up. Now, so government has done their bit. It's
They
us
have
who
done
need
their,
to.
yes,
It's
I
the
would say government is doing its bit, has done the policies, has done their side of the story, and is helping. And now students, faculty, leaders, researchers have to come forward and take advantage of what all the government. There are so many policies. You see the Bio E3 policies, the bio foundries that the government is trying to make, the bio AI hubs that the government is trying to do, then the Atmanirbhar Bharat policy,
policy.
right?
Yes.
So we need to put our mind towards that. A researcher cannot say, oh, I'm going to do fundamental research because I love doing it. No, you need to do research which the nation needs
Needs.
now. Right. So with your fundamental, whatever knowledge you have collected so far, please do some research to help the nation.
There's a beautiful message, everyone, here that you need to move. Now, it's our duty to work for the research that helps the nation.
Helps the
Our
nation.
nation is bleeding in a lot of things, and we all need to collectively work to serve our nation. India
Absolutely.
is a beautiful country. It has always been, it will always remain. We need to work on it.
Yes.
Now, ma'am, like you just now said, the products. Now, biochemical products, like the products which has been driven through this science, and probably there are therapies under this science. Which one excites you the most?
Actually, by and large, the biosimilars, that they're biologics, because there are so many products under it, so many products under it, not just vaccines. Vaccines are just one part of the story. There are so many therapeutics, cancer therapeutics,
Okay.
non-cancer therapeutics, regenerative medicine, different kind of biological molecules, right, which is acting up in different treatment of rare diseases, treatment of infectious diseases, treatment of chronic diseases, like chronic diseases like diabetes. India is becoming the diabetes capital of the world.
Correct.
Right? So we need to have more biologics. We need to have more biosimilars. And we are capable. We know how to do it. As a very mere small worker, I am saying with confidence that we know how to do it. We just have to get into action. And put people together and put the task force together and work with the industry. Academics needs to work with the industry needs to trust the academics and work with them, and together I think we can make a huge difference. So biosimilars is my area of interest.
So when you say biosimilars, there are a lot of advancements which has come in the industry already. We've got such great medicines to cure chronic diseases. But by and large, I would like to know, is it only available to the people here in the,
Urban.
metros? Are we reaching the urban people?
Yeah. No, we are reaching the rural,
the
rural people.
yes.
Yes. It's not just for urban people. Now cancer therapy has reduced its cost, has come down in cost. And even people in small districts, it is made affordable to them. Maybe some doctors do not reach the small rural areas, but people from the rural areas, when they come to the cities and they approach the doctors can give them medicines which they can afford. And there are so many other diseases, tuberculosis, malaria, all this caused by climate change also, because flooding and all this causes all these diseases like dengue, chikungunya, malaria. Oh, there is plenty of diagnostic kits, Diagnostic kits are being made.
Okay.
Very simple, easy diagnostic kits for all these diseases, and which goes down to rural India also.
Okay.
Yeah. And so diseases are detected quickly and they can be treated.
So, ma'am, when you say we've got diagnostic sticks, how supposedly somebody's, how can we diagnose prior that, of course, someday if I feel that there is some uneasiness, supposedly the climate has some change, and if I feel there are some lung issues that I have, what kind of a diagnostic sticks available in the market where we can also detect, this can be forthcoming, this problem can be,
Yeah,
I
there
can
are
have this.
several diagnostics, but of course these are specialized diagnostics,
Okay.
and the doctor can tell us,
Okay.
doctor can tell us exactly which one will be the one which is suitable for your medical condition,
Okay.
right? But earlier we didn't have as many diagnostics, and
Correct.
one would have to go to a hospital
To get this done.
to get this done. Now there is what is called as point of care diagnostics. Point of care means the patient is on the bed in his house, right? You can get a diagnostic kit, check him in the house.
Super. Yes.
And so he doesn't have to take all the trouble to go to the hospital. He is diagnosed at home, and then the medicines can be prescribed. So things are becoming much, much easier.
Yeah, the life is becoming more easier.
Much more
Much
easier. It has to be thoughtfully executed. It has to be thoughtfully executed. There has to be no fear from the public, and there has to be a lot of initiative from the ones who are executing. Things can be
Wonderful,
wonderful.
wonderful. Now I have another question here. When we talk about vaccines, let's just go beyond vaccines now. What are the new possibilities do mRNA-based therapies hold? Now, how actively India is working on it?
Oh yes, we are working very, very actively. Now we used to only think of mRNA, as related to vaccines. People used to think, oh, it's so this started early in the 2000s with hepatitis B, but there are so many other things, like regenerative medicines.
Okay.
For bone regeneration, then for regeneration of cardiac tissues.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are mRNA these things. Then there are so many other protein repair medicines, right? All made through mRNA.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not just mRNA vaccines, mRNA technology.
Okay.
Right? So all these biologics are helped through the mRNA technology.
Okay, now I'm sure this technology which you're saying through which we are getting these regenerative medicines.
Yes.
And I would like to know this: how affordable are they? Like, I mean, all those biosimilar. You said that this is one of the favorite things that you have. Now, how affordable are they?
They are, as of now, affordable, but yes, urban population takes it more. So that is what we are saying. India is setting up the biofoundries, right? Biofoundries are small biomanufacturing units,
Okay.
right? So we are ready to manufacture more and more. We need more people. At every stage I will tell you, I need more people. I need more students whom I can skill in the mRNA technology, for example. So I need more and more students who will come into this task force and will help the industry to manufacture more. Once you start manufacturing more, prices come down,
Prices will come down. Yes.
right?
All right.
So it is already reaching the poor people, but it can be enhanced, right? As much as it is reaching the North American countries, and our medicines go there also.
Correct.
Right, to the European countries, to the North American countries. But why not more in our own country, right? Manufacture more.
Okay, so here the message is quite clear. We have a researcher who's been working aggressively, and her main agenda is to serve India. No, of course we need people. We need people who come forward, take her mission forward, and of course you coming here, I'm sure through this program we would like to reach as many people, of course the young ones, educators, to come join the mission, because here the idea is to serve the country. And like I've been saying, India is a beautiful country. We need to make it health hazard free. We are
Absolutely.
having facing a lot of health issues, and we need to work upon it. And we've got a researcher, biochemicals and whatnot, that you're working. You've done so much in the industry of finding new medicines. I am so happy that I'm sharing this stage today with you, getting to know a lot about this industry. My knowledge was very bleak. Now, ma'am, we know that diagnostics have transformed healthcare across. Now that, like you're saying, that we've got kits also. Now, what indigenous innovations are making disease screening easier? Again, coming back to the rural India.
Yes. So here also, AI has helped us,
All right.
right?
Wow.
Then we have many biomedical devices, a lot of biosensors, which can be very cheaply made.
Okay.
They don't need. Only we have to put our minds together and put two and two together and make five, And so there are a lot of biosensors which can simply be used to check maybe the urine samples, to check blood samples, very simply. So, which can be taken to rural India. These diagnostics are all taken. Then, of course, there are some immunological kits, right? Little sophisticated ELISA kits, they are called, right?
Okay.
ELISA kits. And how AI is helping the Genome India project. I'll tell you a little secret here. The genomic picture, meaning the kind of diversity we have in India, the humans in India have so much of diversity because of our history.
Correct.
Okay, we have been invaded by foreigners, right? And there is a mix in the population. Huh? My genomic thing may be very different from yours, right? Because you come from a different area. I mean, the southern part of India may have a different genomic picture as compared to the northern part of India. So the Genome India project is being helped by AI. That is another project which will bring so much of data. And I'm telling you, any foreign country, the advanced countries, will do anything to get this data.
All right.
Yes. So they are trying to set up hubs over here to collect this data before they get hand of everything. I passionately feel that we Indians should look into our own genome pictures and do our own work and create our own genome
All right.
storage.
So here, when you say this kind of research work like Genomes India, people abroad are more keen to know the kind of genetics. Does it have
Yeah,
anything to do with our genetics, right?
Yes.
Yes,
They want
okay.
to know what is India, the genomic picture of India they want to know. Because we are a huge population.
Right.
Right. And so if you know the genomic picture, you can design medicines.
Accordingly.
Right.
Yeah.
So there will be a demand in India. You see?
Right.
So the foreign countries will try to make the medicines and supply to us. Why? We have the capability. So why should we not understand our genomic picture and why should we not make preventive medicine? Why should we not make predictive medicine? You see? Huh? Why should we not make our own precision medicine for our own population? It can be done.
You very rightly said that, for this particular thing, why should we give all the pleasure to them when we all can, collectively do things here in
Collectively.
India? We are well equipped.
Yes.
We are so knowledgeable. And of
Yes.
course, the doctors here in India are being called abroad.
Yes.
Mostly the Indian doctors
Yes.
are really regarded up,
Yes.
in the foreign country. So here it's a very clear message to the audience, I'm sure, that we
Yes.
all need to work together.
Yes.
And towards the end, and I'm really liking this interview and I really wish that it could go on and on. But towards to end it, I would like to hear from you again. What is that for one message that you have for all the students who would wish to be in the industry, who would wish to be here in this biochemical and bio technology?
Yes. So, like any other leader would say, "Come ye, my children." I am like that. I would say, "Come, students. We have a lot of work to do. There's plenty of knowledge to be shared." And those of you who want to come to biotechnology, take it as a second choice after medicine. Don't do it like that. If you're keen, sharp, and have interest in biology and life sciences, then medicine may be a second choice, because medicine is going to change the way it is going to treat the world. And doctors will depend on biotechnologists, bioinformaticians. So this is the field to be in, the Sunrise sector for the next 50 years in India.
Wonderful. we had no knowledge of it, that this is the industry that we all should look up to. Every house wants doctors.
Yes.
We, we want more biotechnologists
Yes, now.
here now.
Yes.
Here, so my dear friends, I'm sure this interview is going to change your mindset. If all the parents who are watching, now you know where you need to send your students, or rather your kids, to become
Yes.
students of this industry,
Yes.
because India needs them. And thank you so very much, ma'am.
Thank you so
We've had a
much
great
for
time
having me here.
getting to
Yes.
know so much, and what a great researcher you are.
Thank
We
you,
are
thank
looking
you,
forward to
thank you.
more researches from your end.
Thank you so much. Yes,
And having
absolutely.
you next time with another great research work.
Absolutely. God willing,
Yes.
I will keep on.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
so very much. And thank you, audience. Here's Simran signing off. And like I always say, stay blessed, stay happy, and take care of your health. See you.